Welcome back to another podcast. Daniel Wachtel, Nicholas Coriano here, talking about the ins and outs of small caps, micro caps, penny stocks. We're here to teach you guys from an insider's perspective, and today we want to talk about some of the things micro cap and small cap CEOs should understand and know, and some other stuff about the micro cap sector. So let's start, Dan. Dan, what do you think is the biggest thing a micro cap or a small cap CEO? Let's start with the OTC exchange, right? The CEO is just listed. He has a business plan, right? Me and Dan are laughing because we see a lot of this come through our door. He's got a business plan. He paid the fees to be publicly listed, and he is looking to get his stock price up like everybody else.
So it's funny that you do mention that because we deal with that a lot, and they do come with a business plan, which is wonderful. We love that. We love business plans. I also like a company behind that business plan.
What are you talking about? Something that creates revenue, an actual business with customers, and
something that's more than a piece of paper. They're like, hey, I have this. I'm public.
Yeah, but the investors are only buying a piece of paper, right? They're buying stock, right?
Yeah, but they're buying a piece of paper of a piece of paper at this point. For most of the people that come to us, they are in effect buying paper of paper. You know, it's very funny.
Well, they don't come to us. You're talking about people that buy. Our clients are companies, right? But you're talking about people that actually buy the stock are buying papers of papers in a lot of OTC and penny stock companies. What do you mean by that? Explain that. Explain that to the listener.
Well, the companies that usually do, they trade on the pink sheets in the OTC, which is, I mean, the lowest of the low of the OTC market. They usually have just the business plan, but they think by going public, either through an IPO or a reverse merger where they reverse into a public shell, that they're of a failed company. And they think automatically that their world is going to turn around and they are going to have.
Yeah, they think going public is the magic bullet.
Yeah, they think they're going to have $1 billion the next day, and then they realize that they're public and nothing's changed. They
still have a business plan, and they're still looking for investors.
And they don't have a company. For the most, they have no revenues, and you even just try to give them advice on what to do next, like what the next steps would be. Like, I don't know, start a business.
Exactly, run a business. Yeah, I mean, we at Servitude for sure, and when me and Dan met up, we had a very similar mindset, which is a business is a business, and if you're buying stock, you're buying a percentage of a business. The issue in the OTC sector and the micro cap sector, and I don't want to put all of it on OTC markets, honestly, guys, because OTC markets has actually some middle cap and large cap companies, like I think Adidas trades on OTC markets. Yeah, there's some big firms that trade on OTC markets, but we're talking about penny stocks. We're talking about penny stocks, micro cap stocks, guys that are trading at 0.001 or even $5 with a $50 million market cap, and they have absolutely no revenue.
I'm gonna have to call a timeout, call Nick out on Adidas. That's their ADR. That's their mirror of their actual stock.
Okay, so that's shady.
It's actually nice. It looks.
But my point remains. If you search the OTC markets website for stock, you're gonna find some big names there. All right, I'm sure I can come up with another example. As a matter of fact, if you guys are listening and you guys know other big companies, email Daniel Wachtel. Find him on LinkedIn and email him the big names. But you're right. So they come in the door. So what's the biggest advice? The biggest advice, I think let me summarize what Dan's trying to say. I think he's trying to say is build a real company, right?
Yeah. Sounds
so simple.
Yes. At least start it.
Sounds so simple. Now, a disclaimer for some of these CEOs. Some of these CEOs got tricked into going public. There's a lot of service providers out there, and luckily Dan is not one of them, and that's why me and him get along so well. But there's a lot of service providers out there that will take 50 grand, 100 grand from an entrepreneur, a founder, or a team and list them on a public exchange and tell them, well, once you go public, you'll get the funders, you'll get the money. And that's not necessarily true. Just being public doesn't get you the money. Like we stated before, having a good business. And for me, a good business is good management, a team that can execute the business plan, and then having a viable business plan, right? Having an actual business plan that you're selling a product or service. It always scares me, if we're talking about the best advice for small cap CEOs, as an investor, right? As an investor, it always scares me when I go to a company website and the first thing they have there is their stock price, all the information about investing, right? And you can filter through a lot, and this happens a lot on the OTC markets or penny stock. Again, I don't want to bash it, but in the small cap market, micro cap market, you'll see some of these guys, you go to their webpage and it's all their stock information, all information to invest in their company. And you can scroll through the website for 5 minutes and never find a product or service they're selling. And for me, that's a red flag, right? For me, that's a red flag as an investor. It says these guys need to get their act together. So my advice for, and it's been with our clients and it's been with, and now for anyone listening on the podcast, create a business, get a management team in place, right? Get a management team in place. No one believes you're going to build $1 billion business with a single member corporation. You guys have to put together a board of directors, an advisory board. And then the business plan should match the strengths of those guys, or vice versa, right? The strength of the team should match the business plan. So that's my biggest advice for small cap CEOs. I wrote an article on Servitude, a quick article a while back, right? That said, stop looking at your stock price. That's another big one for small cap CEOs, is understanding by building a big business, you can get funders in. Building a big business, a real business, creates liquidity, because that's really the question a lot of them give us, right? They say, give me liquidity, Dan. That's what they say, right? I need this. I need liquidity. I need people buying and selling the stock. How do you do that? Build a real business.
And when you do tell them that, when you give them that advice, is that you don't have any assets, you have no revenues, you basically, all you have on your balance sheet is debt. It's debt you've taken on for whatever reason.
Yeah, a lot of times they roll over the debt from pre-incorporation, right? Before they went public, any of those fees, that $100,000 in fees that the founder paid, or just a salary that the founder is supposed to get paid, they put that on the books as debt. Which actually leads me to something I've been thinking a lot about in the OTC sector, which is great advice, I think, for small cap CEOs. Is I think they're if you can sell a stock that's not worth anything, because let's get real, if you just trade it, you have no revenue, you have debt, you're not worth anything. I don't care if you're trading at $50 million or $500 million market cap. If you're trading at $1 or $20, you're not worth anything. You have nothing there. But what you do have is that position of a public company stock. And I think a lot of CEOs are underutilizing that tactic of buying assets or gaining human capital with that stock. That stock is their currency. And I think they'd be well suited to use that stock to buy assets, buy income producing assets, get the management on board, and pay them through the stock,
Yeah, you can also use that stock to buy other companies that actually have some assets.
That's a great one. I've seen a couple, I think Farm or LAND or Farm, one of the land holding companies, one of the microcap land holding companies I saw did that. They're buying a lot of income producing farms. That's great advice. So look, that's where we're going to keep it for today. That's our advice for small cap CEOs. Follow us on the podcast. Listen to us on iTunes. Check us out at Servitude and Harbor Cap. All our links are there, so you guys can reach out to us at any time. And Google us on YouTube, or YouTube us on YouTube. Thanks for joining another episode, guys. We'll talk soon.